Howdy folks, Little John, and time for a 5 on Friday. Now, I will let you on a secret. I'm actually recording this on Thursday afternoon. Thanks to our good mate COVID, there's been some changes at work, and where I was just on the verge of getting back to having my normal routine of getting back to working Monday to Thursday back and having Fridays off. Things have changed, and I'm now bloody back working a mix of office and shifts. So I'm working tomorrow. So I'm doing the 5 on Friday on Thursday afternoon. But you're not going to see it till Friday, just to keep in the feel of the vibe of 5 on Friday. Some help from the old JD white label this afternoon. And what I want to talk about is cold crashing, but not the whole process of cold crashing, but a specific part. And then what's been coming up a lot on forums and Facebook and whatnot, and a lot of people have been asking about it, and that is suckback. That the phenomenon of when you go into cold crash, you know, people have this problem where their airlock gets sucked back into the fermenter, back into their beer. And there's all sorts of problems. So there's a lot of discussion around this because it concerns people, because they're worried about contaminating their beer either with what's in the airlock or with air getting back into the fermenter. Now, I think there's a lot of concern about this that's not really warranted. I think a lot of the current issue, I mean, it's always been there. A lot of the current issue with the worry about suckback is oxygenation and oxidising the beer. And I think it comes a lot from, you know, all these heavily late hopped beers come out, New England IPA specific, you know, as a main bloody cause of it. But just beers in general, where there's so much dry hopping going on, brewers on large are having more trouble with oxidation in their beers, and I think a lot of brewers are having this conception that this is coming from suckback when they're cold crashing, and it's just not really an issue. You need to be aware of suckback, and you need to allow for it when you're cold crashing, yes. Is it going to cause the drastic problems that it's being sort of touted as doing? I really don't think so. Now, I'm not going to be quoting, I can't quote any scientific evidence, and I'm not going to bother looking for it. But it's relatively common sense but the theory behind why I don't worry about it so much, and what I do. Now, so obviously, we get to the end of the brew. Fermenter's finished before you cold crash. You're not cold crashing before a ferment is done. The ferment's done. The wort in your barrel is still, it's done. There's no activity. Your airlock's levelled off. There's nothing going on. So at that point you've got a build-up of an amount of CO2 in here, which is at relatively low pressure, due to the fact it's only running through an airlock. It can't build up too much pressure, but there is some in there, which under most circumstances stops air from getting in here, which generally is a good thing, particularly while this is active. Now, for me, when I go into a cold crash, I either just don't worry about it, and simply because, as I've done on the original video on cold crashing, I do it slowly over a number of days. I don't subject this barrel to massive changes in temperature in short periods of time, which will cause this airlock to start bubbling back the other way. Now, this will happen regardless, okay? If it's done at slower, at lower temperatures, it happens slowly and it does control somewhat what's going on. But brewers tend not to be very comfortable with having that going on. This thing bubbling the wrong way, and you get stuff coming back, and next thing you know, you've got this going back into your fermenter. And even if you're using sanitizer, I use sanitizer in the airlock, but if it's been sitting there for 7, 10, 14 days, or possibly longer, when you don't want it sucking back in because it's no longer sanitary. I mean, sanitizer's not going to last that long when it's open. So you don't want this coming back into your wort. This is the first big issue. Not even so much about air getting in that point, it's about this getting in and contaminating your beer. So what a lot of brewers do is they just take the airlock out. Okay, that's fine, but then you've got a hole there. Well, this is where my theory comes in and my understanding of science. Now, granted, I went to school 35 years ago, and a little bit, and I got kicked out of an awful lot of science lessons. Take from that what you will, but either way, I still passed science with a B and done reasonably well. So I'm not a silly man. I do have some understanding of basic physics and whatnot. So to me, as soon as you've released that bloody airlock, all your pressure's gone. There's no longer pressure in this bloody barrel. So, by my reckoning, this barrel is now at the same pressure as the air around it. So, if this and the air around it in your fermenting chamber is all dropping temperature, you're not really getting any great exchange of air. It's only what's coming on backwards, Now, even if there is, and this is where I change my method a little bit. I don't take the airlock out. I leave the airlock in there. Right. Leave it in there. And all I do is I just crack the lid. Just enough to bust the seal. Leave it on there. And same thing. You've released the pressure from the barrel. You've equalised this and its surrounds. Okay? Now, as you're cooling, if it's sealed, yes, the pressure's going to change. But when you're running a fermentation chamber, you're cooling the whole area around your ferment, around your barrel. So this changes temperature at a slightly lower rate. But if there is an exchange of air in between this lid, now I'm working on the lid being cracked, or if I do take the airlock off, and sometimes I actually brew without the airlock. I've got one fermenter where the airlock doesn't actually seal. I've lost the grommet, and I just sit a bottle cap on top. I just sit it straight over the hole in the lid. Alright, instead of the fermenter, instead of the airlock, I just sit a bloody bottle cap on there. Right. And that stops any nasties from getting in. While it's fermenting, I don't need to worry about anything getting in there. There is a positive pressure. It's only once you're finished. Now, so there might be some air going in or going out, but this barrel is sitting in your ferment chamber perfectly still. It's not moving around. Your wort is sitting. Now, oxygen doesn't just magically work its way into a liquid. Yeah, it's not absorbed that easily. No. Yeah, it can be. It will absorb quite slowly. But in the context of a coal crash, which might be 2 days, you're not getting it there. We have enough time as home brewers, enough trouble getting oxygen into the wort when we're taking efforts and thrashing the crap out of it. You know, when we splashing it around, trying to stuff in, they're telling us we're not getting much oxygen in there in the first place. Yeah, minimal amounts of oxygen. So if that wort's just sitting completely still and no one's actually stirring it up, how is the oxygen getting in there? Is there anything even getting in there? Yeah, certainly not enough in 2 days to worry about. Certainly not enough to oxidise your beer. Right? For me, there's no fucking way in the world with a 2-day coal crash you're oxidising your beer. You need to be doing stuff to do that, and this is where the massive dry hop comes in, because people have got these big dry hops in there and they leave them in there until they're bottling or kegging the beer. So they're cold crashing with those hops in there. Those hops are still having nucleation points with the CO2. They're still reacting, even though there's no fermentation going on. That stirring up on the surface is going to bring some oxygen in. Then those hops cause problems with biotransformation, and I can't think of the word off the top of my head. I should have looked and wrote it down. But the process where they will continue to ferment afterwards and create some oxygen as a byproduct. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but that's a specific problem with New England IPAs, and it's exactly why you should pull your dry hops out before you cold crash. Get anything out of the beer which is going to cause some sort of disturbance within it. I've done hundreds of brews. I have not had any more than the occasional random problem with oxidation. I've probably had 2 batches in that time which have been affected by oxygen, and that was probably more a case of being slack with transfer or packaging, more so than a possible cold crashing issue. And they may have even been beers before I even cold crashed, in all honesty. It's been quite a while since I've had an oxidised batch, and I haven't cold crashed for I've cold crashed for a while actually now. But either way, I believe if you're cold crashing slowly over several days, a few degrees a day at a go, cracking the lid or removing the airlock and covering the hole, whichever way you wish to do it, but relieving the pressure initially before you go in that cold, I think you're at very low risk of anything going wrong. There's always the rogue, that one-off beer, the rogue beer that something does go wrong, and you can't always explain exactly what happened, and that happens on a home brew scale. It happens on a bloody commercial scale. Sometimes things just don't go right, but following that process, I really don't see you having an issue with oxidation in your beer by following a standard, simple procedure of cold crashing. Okay. Do you need to take care with transferring to a bulk priming bucket? Of course you do. Do you need to take care when you're bottling? Yes, you do. I am interested to see. I've got an experiment at the moment, like previous batch I've got aging at the moment. I purposely actually shook the air into a bottle to see what effect that would have, and also had one without any air at all, so there's no oxygen, to see what difference it does actually make. But that's in a bottling sense. That's after we've done this cold crash. It's a little bit different. But yeah, for me, I don't think there's an issue. Crack your lid. It's as simple as that. Just crack the seal on the lid. Quarter turn on the lid will crack the seal. Yeah, maybe half a turn. Doesn't matter. Just enough that bloody the O-ring's no longer sealing the bloody airlock and the lid, and you're gonna have no problem. You're not going to oxidise your beer. Take care with with any transfers and your bottling process, and you've got minimal chance of oxidation. Listen, I've had New England IPA 9 months down the track in the bottle, drinking probably as good as it did when I was younger, and this is a style that's notorious for being oxidised within weeks. So, as with all things brewing, if you got your process right, you're reducing your chances of having a problem. Okay? That's it. It's that simple. This may cause some concerns or issues with those who maybe have a more superior scientific knowledge than what I do. Maybe there is something incredibly flawed with my thinking. I don't see it, I've not experienced it. But either way, comments and questions down the bottom. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you're a Patreon, as always, cheers guys, great to have you along. If you'd like to support Little John, look into Patreon, hit the link down the bottom there. See what it's all about. There's extras, there's bonuses. But, end of the day, we done. 5 on Friday for today. Cold crashing, oxidation, don't worry about it. It's not an issue. You won't have a problem. But that's me for today. So Little John. So until I see you again, we were brewing beer, drinking beer, or we talking beer. Good brewing.